Good morning, my friends. Good morning, my AMXers. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a good day. It's a good day. Not like Crazy Horse when he rode into battle. I believe it was Little Bighorn. I actually have it on my phone, but I can't look right now. Dread, I'm glad you signed in here. Dread, what was it? I was going to text you, but I'm looking at my phone. I can't text you. There was something recently in our lives, experiences, books, whatever, where a leader said something to the effect of the subordinate will want to do their... It might have been in the Dichotomy of Leadership, but the subordinate, you hire the subordinate knowing the subordinate will want to do his or her best, therefore you don't need to micromanage. It might have been that chapter, but it had something, for some reason I'm thinking of comics or something, but anyway, like, you're not going to have to look over me because you're going to know that I'm going to want to do my best. So what was that scenario? Because I'd like to extrapolate on it, but I don't really know where it's from. And I would have had this as a private conversation, but my phone is being used. Might be in this. Might be in this. Don't need to row the boat. Okay. Okay, we'll forget that one. Dread, I'm very much looking forward to seeing you today. Okay. We'll touch on that today. Oh, nice little run outside, Dreadster. Nice little run out in the cold. Nice little hill sprints. Yeah, we got some hill sprints in this morning. Alright, Dread, if it's just me and you, man, let's just rock and roll. Let's rock and roll and get this day. Let's get this party of a day started. Oh, boy. Yeah, I can only see the first part of your comment because when I hit see more, it just disappears. But yes, it's kind of, and Jocko said before about the Navy SEALs being self-selecting, in that by the time they get there, they're already pretty good. Also interesting, Dread, Dennis, now that you're here, in the book, Leif says, I mean, matter-of-factly, point blank, you would think that all the leaders in the Navy SEALs are great leaders, but he said only a small minority of SEAL leaders he has had have been great leaders. So even at that level, the leadership is not tremendous. I found that to be pretty, pretty enlightening. Pretty like lightning. I was thinking Seymour Butts. I think that's I don't know if that originated with The Simpsons or not, but I need to see more butts. I need to see more butts here. See more butts. The bar scene. Alright, let's rock and roll. Oh boy. One, two, three. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. This is the Spaniard, and this is AM Excellence 593. The Dichotomy of Leadership is the book we're studying. You can get this book as well as every other book at charliespaniard.com/reading list. Now, I'm a little coffee, and I want to throw this out there. I just got in from outside. It's 40 degrees outside. It's cold. It's dark. It's the beginning of almost winter time, and I just did some hill sprints, and I feel mighty good. A quick reminder that on Friday, I will be putting out my weekly workouts. If you're someone who's looking for a little bit of guidance, maybe an entire program, or if you're competitive like me and you want to challenge yourself, I'll set the bar and you go after it. I'm recording audio of my workouts for the week. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's short, it's sweet, and it'll give you 7 or 6 workouts that I do that week. So be sure to subscribe to the show. Be sure to tune in. Today's dichotomy in chapter 9, a leader and a follower. So this is the dichotomy, that sometimes you're the leader and sometimes you're the follower. Now this is so evident in my life, you know, a black and white version of this, right? The dichotomy of a leader and a follower. I will have X on my show, turn around, and then X will have me on their show. It's a complete switcheroo, where one position you're the leader of the conversation, and in the second position you're the follower of the conversation. It's like I pick their expertise, turn around, hit reset, and then they pick my expertise. So there is a give, there's a dichotomy, there's a switcheroo that goes on between being a leader and a follower. So in the chapter, Leif was talking about a situation on a particular mission. So he was in charge, but Chris Kyle of the movie American Sniper, the man American Sniper, had more experience and knowledge read this type of situation. So Leif was in charge, higher rank, outranked Chris, but Chris had more experience in this particular situation, in this combat they were in. Leif says, quote, "While I was the leader in charge, I recognized that for my team to succeed, in order to be a good leader, I also had to be willing to follow." How many people, in a little bit, I'm going to say that there's no place for ego in this dichotomy, but how many people have the ability, the awareness, right? The self-awareness, the ability, the skill to set aside their ego and allow their subordinate to lead simply because their subordinate has been here and done that, and they are more knowledgeable about the situation. In martial arts, if you look up the word sensei, I heard this on a podcast a while ago, and I actually Googled it while prepping for this lesson. The word sensei means teacher. And when I heard it in context on a podcast, it said it's the idea of a teacher passing down previous knowledge. So being a mixed martial artist, you know, having a tendency to appreciate martial arts and combat, etc., I'm drawn to this idea of sensei and teacher, that there's a lineage and a respect, right? There's a lineage and respect in martial arts that comes from your sensei. But there's also this. And this was probably exemplified most in my recent history because I haven't really been involved in mixed martial arts. But when I went up to Maine for the Origin BJJ immersion camp with Origin Jiu-Jitsu, with Jocko Willink, the whole Echelon Front team, and a bunch of their followers, I went up there and you saw all these black belts, you know, all these masters. There were, you know, Dean Lister was there, Jocko was there, Leif was there, all these BJJers, right, world classers were there. And, you know, they would stand up in front of the class and they would teach their, you know, they would teach their segment. But every single one of them was a leader and a follower. Not one of them forgot, oh, my knowledge came from somewhere. Not one of them walked high and mighty and arrogant and telling it. No, they all knew, hey, my knowledge came from somewhere. I'm simply the recipient of the knowledge that came before me. Leading didn't mean, this is again from the book by Leif, quote, leading didn't mean pushing my agenda or proving I had all the answers. Now, being up close and personal with the guys who wrote this book, with Jocko and Leif, being able to see how they live, being able to ask how they live, you realize that it's not about them having all the answers. It's not. It's simply the awareness, as Leif states, as they both state so well in this book, it's the awareness of these dichotomies that is your greatest leadership tool. Moving on, this is so important. I mentioned it yesterday. I mentioned it in the past, but I want to drive it home again. In the book, Leif says plain, outright, quote, "It was the weakest form of leadership to win an argument through rank or position." If you find yourself saying, because I'm the boss, because I said so, because I'm the parent, and let me put a big, ginormous asterisk here, my kids are 5 and 2, and already I'm having to balance this idea, this dichotomy of, okay, they're 5 and 2. Do they understand the why? Well, I'm reading that in leadership, the most important explanation you can give is why. So trust me, I'm not batting 1,000 here. I'm not perfect, but I'm very aware of the fact that even at a young age, I need to start explaining to my kids why. Granted, my son, My son Rocky just walks around all day saying one of two things: I'm hungry or why. That's it. So there is some ebb and flow there, but I'm at least aware of the fact that it's extremely important to say why. In the book, Leif says that in the Navy they called it rock, scissors, rank, right? Rock, paper, scissors, but rock, scissors, rank, meaning I outrank you, I win. As per the book, that is the worst form of leadership. Moving on to the last bullet point for today, talking about this leader-follower dichotomy. And I mentioned a minute ago that there, that there is no room for ego involved here. The balance, probably my favorite dichotomy of all, my favorite dichotomy to dissect is that of ego and humility. Because you can't want, and Leif told me this on stage, I asked this question at their event, you can't have a drive to be the best without having an ego. But at the same time, you've got to be able to put that ego in check, and you've got to be able to walk humbly. These guys, I'm specifically talking about Jocko and Leif, but everyone connected to this book, connected to this story, every one of them knows humility because they were dealt humility. Remember how at the beginning of the book, Leif tells us that every combat leader must be humble, or they will get humbled? That's the way it is. These guys have either been born with humility or they got humbled because they've seen it. They've seen combat firsthand. Leif goes on to say, quote, "A good leader recognizes that it doesn't matter who gets the credit, only that the mission is accomplished in the true, most effective manner possible. That the mission is accomplished in the most effective manner possible." And look, when your subordinates win, you win. That's it. When your subordinates win, you win. Because at the end of the day, you're in charge. And even if you don't win, how about this? It'll buff out, right? Maybe you do something and someone else gets the credit. I'm sitting here saying, well, it'll buff out. Well, the truth is it might not buff out. So then what? How about we just forget about getting our due and do it for the mission? What about that? How about we just selflessly do it because we know it's the right thing to do? It's always the right time to do the right thing. It's always a good time to do the right thing. How about that, my friends? Let's send off AMX 593 with that, reading the book, The Dichotomy of Leadership. All of these books and more are on my website, charliespaniard.com. Reminder to interact on social media. I just want to geek out and talk about books all day, at Charlie Spaniard on social media. And reminder, the new episodes, the workouts, I'm going to be putting out the episode on Friday. I'm going to give it, 5 or 10 weeks, see if there's some support and some liking for that type of episode. But I'm running down my weekly workouts. Use it as a guide. Use it as a total plan. Use it however you want. But first, my friends, go read a book. See ya. Hello, Brian. I just got your message on Facebook. It was very good to see you too, my friend. And let me tell you this, friends. Dread is like a great book recommender. Same here, Marissa. I was over at Penn State yesterday talking to Jenny about you. Good things, obviously. Dennis, let me know, shoot me a message, what you liked, what you didn't like, and or what I should do different or better. Because I got some feedback from one of my buddies, and I would like some more feedback, and then I will implement some of those changes for this week's episode. But yesterday I started reading, not this book, but this is The Dichotomy of Leadership, and we will be finishing this up in the near future. I also got in the mail The Boys in the Boat, 9 Americans in their epic quest for gold at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Excited about this one, but right now I'm actually reading 2 books, both of which are upstairs. The Good Neighbor, Mr. Rogers biography, so good. I started it yesterday, it's so good. And then also the book Unplugged by Brian McKenzie, which is about, I wish I had the subtitle off the top of my head, but basically it's about disconnecting from electronics and going back to your body and your instincts and your senses, training, not being a slave to electronics. And then also these 2 books, Running Man with Charlie Engle, can't see that, but Running Man with Charlie Engle, This guy ran across the Sahara Desert and the Amazon. I interviewed him already for my show. This guy, Brian Dickinson, climbed Mount Everest. He was a Navy rescue swimmer. I also already interviewed him for my show. And both these guys gave me a copy of their book. In a perfect world, I'm going to read both these books before the episode airs. I already interviewed them, so it's not like I can interview them based on the book. But I will want to read these books as well. So basically, I got to figure out a way how to get paid reading books, because that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do, my friends. All right, that's it. Thanks for your tuning in-age, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning. So have yourselves a good old Wednesday.